Well, hello there, Gemini. How are you? It is so good to see you again. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm Mary Sue, and I'm so grateful that you're here. So today we are doing a little bit of a special reading. We're asking your guides for what advice you may need as we are approaching the full moon in Scorpio and lunar eclipse on May 5th. So this could be a time, if you're feeling very emotional, having a lot of, just emotions, even from childhood, that are coming up. Just know that that is part of this full moon in Scorpio. So we'll be feeling this now through next week. So we'll take a look today. We're going to take a look first at the overall energies with the oracle cards, and then with the tarot, we're going to go take a deeper dive into what you may have learned over the last 6 months since the new moon in Scorpio back in October of 2022, as we're finishing out this moon cycle, and then where you are now, and what may be coming up for you, some emotions that may be coming up, your greatest obstacle, and then finally your next step to allow these emotions to come up, to release them, and then to step into something really wonderful, because Scorpio is all about transformations. So when we allow these emotions come up, we release them, then we can transform. We can go to a higher level of ourselves. Okay, so let's take a look at your oracle cards. You have impasse, reflect, and redirect your energy. Okay, and you step into the spotlight. Oh my goodness, you have a message that the world needs to hear. It's time to share your wisdom. Okay, so I'm getting 2 messages depending on how this may resonate for you. For some of you, I feel like you are hitting a wall in some type of situation, your career, a job, a relationship. It's kind of like you're hitting this wall and you can't figure out why. It's kind of like almost an invisible obstacle to you. Okay. The reason that you're hitting the wall is because you're kind of putting your energy into trying to fix or solve or heal a situation instead of working on stepping into your spotlight, into what your purpose is. So it's almost as if you're kind of coming to an end in a certain situation or relationship, okay? But it's almost like you're still working on it. You're trying to resolve it in some way. But the message here, if you're resonating with that, is that it's time to take a look at what your purpose is. That situation may also align with your purpose, right? So if it's a relationship and you're having trouble healing the relationship, it may be about healing yourself so that you can step into the spotlight and help others heal. So we'll take a look when we go to the tarot. For others of you, okay, if you have stepped truly into your purpose, okay, there could be this situation where you're feeling like you're at an impasse, but it's because you've lost your alignment with your purpose. It doesn't mean that you're not working hard, Gemini, because I know you are. It's because you've lost your purpose. You may have allowed yourself to get into that analytical phase instead of staying heart-centered as far as your business or your career or the situation is going. Yeah, look, this new beginning. And, I feel like it's almost as if you are having a new beginning. It does not mean necessarily that you're starting a new career or a new relationship, although for some of you that may be true. For others of you, it's about having a new mindset, going back to this energy, right, of kind of being a baby, looking at it from that very, oh my goodness, that innocent energy. Sometimes when we're at an impasse, we feel like we're just butting our heads up against a wall, right? The problem is that we get even more in our minds. If you think about it, a baby isn't really like thinking how what they're supposed to do. They're literally just living in their heart space. They're just kind of enjoying life and reacting to all of the beautiful new things. They're awe. And I feel like that is what you are being called to do, is to step into being in the awe state of whatever this situation is, whether it's a new one or a situation where you just feel like you've hit a wall. Because yes, you have, victim mentality, you have deception, and then you have the loving man. It's understanding. I feel like you've been on this journey, right? Of going through negative thinking, being deceived by others and deceiving yourself. And now you're stepping back into your heart space, knowing that you do deserve the love, the attention, the spotlight, but it's also the abundance, what it is that you're trying to manifest. That sense of fulfillment in your work, if this is kind of resonating in your work sector. Okay, so let's go to the tarot and take a look. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right, so Gemini, you have the Six of Cups, the Ten of Cups, the Two of Cups. I feel like you're looking at a situation, but you're almost like comparing it to a situation from the past that brought you a lot of joy, at least at one time. Okay. Now, the thing that's coming up for you right now in this full moon in Scorpio is that I feel like you're having difficulties in some situation or relationship, your career or something like that. And you're kind of almost like going back to a time in your mind and thinking, wow, I had it together then, and feeling as if you don't have it together now, right? But what you don't realize is that asking yourself, it's almost as if you have deceived yourself to think that, or you're going through a time right now with this full moon in Scorpio and the lunar eclipse. It's kind of like you're going through this time where you're deceiving yourself, thinking, remembering how beautiful this situation was. And it was at one time. But I have a feeling that it's kind of like you're wanting to return to that feeling and not having any luck with that. And it's because you're trying to almost manifest from a past version of yourself. You're no longer that person, It's kind of like all the cells in our body, right, are replaced every 7 years. It's kind of like every 7 years, all of our cells have been completely exchanged for new cells. So it's that same type of energy, but spiritually, you are not the same person that you were 7 years ago or, 10 years ago. Okay. Or even 2008 when Pluto moved into Capricorn, right? So it's understanding that what you're attaching yourself to or what you're comparing your life to now is, oh, well, it was happier. It was easier. It worked better back then. Why? You're like, why can't I get it to work now? And Gemini, the thing is that the way forward is to step into the alignment of who you are now. What you wanted in the past is not what you want now. There's a certain feeling, I think, that you are associating with something from the past that you are trying to replicate in your life at this time. But it's also understanding that was the past and now you're a newer version of yourself, It's kind of interesting because, if you follow me, I've been kind of like doing some work on my kitchen. And one of the things that I really wanted to do, because I'm kind of at this certain point in my life, and I really wanted to do was to change my dishes. And I know that like my kitchen dishes, my everyday dishes, and I know that may sound strange to some of you, but that was kind of like a big part of growing up. Okay. Our our family kitchen dishes, right? And then I've had the same dishes probably since 2008 when I'm thinking about it. And I went to the store the other day and I was kind of like, I'm leaving these dishes behind because I feel like even in my own life, I'm trying to embrace this new Pluto in Aquarius energy, but I feel like I have things, objects that keep reminding me of people, situations, times in the past, right? And it's kind of like, but that's not my life at this time. And it doesn't mean that we don't want to forget people and good memories and stuff like that. But I'm making a concerted effort, let's put it that way, to move forward in this new Aquarian energy. And I really realized that my dishes, okay, are kind of a personal thing. They're not personal to everybody, right? But for me, it is something that I use every day. And so I decided I was going to gift myself a new set of dishes. And I went to the store and I actually took one of the dishes that I have had literally for like 15, 20 years to the store, right? And I was like, I want something that's totally different. And when I was looking, I was trying to resonate with my heart, which ones are calling me. I was having a hard time because it was like, but I still like my old dishes, okay? And I know it sounds strange, but I did buy new dishes and I do love them. But I even said to the woman that was helping me at the store, I said, don't let me buy anything that looks like my old dishes. I need help. I asked for help. I said, please help me to move into a new style. I'm trying to move into a new style. And she was lovely about it. She really was. I kind of explained why I was doing it. And she really was very lovely about it. And I got my new dishes home and I love my new dishes. But it was a process. It was kind of like I was at this point where it's kind of like, yeah. So I don't know, that's kind of a long story. I'm sorry about that, but there may be things. I guess the reason that came up is because there could be things in your life that you're kind of holding on to, right? And you have fond memories, but they're kind of almost, I know it sounds strange, but maybe those good memories of who you were, your life before, okay, is preventing you from stepping into the spotlight, stepping into this new energy. So yeah, because I love my old dishes. I still do. That was the hard thing. It was really hard for me to say, I've outgrown these dishes. And I had outgrown them. And I was like, I've outgrown these dishes. And I'm ready for new dishes. But that's still a hard transition to make. It isn't now. I do love my new dishes. Okay, so let's take a look at what you have learned over the last 6 months. My goodness, this is huge. You have increase, okay? And look at that. The chakras all coming into alignment, helping you on your path. You see how there's that path? And then back here is kind of like, you know, kind of a castle-y type of, you know, country mansion of some sort, right? You have been, whether you realize it or not in Gemini, you have been getting in alignment in order to be this King of Wands. The King of Wands is a leader, is a spiritual leader, is a guru, is a healer, is somebody that inspires other people. And so over the last 6 months, if you think about back to October 2022, you know, who you were, what has changed on the inside, you know, that maybe you can't see in the tangible world, but especially on the inside. Are you feeling more confident? Are you feeling ready to go out there and inspire other people to step into the spotlight? And once again, it's not about getting on a soapbox and telling other people how to live their life. It's inspiring other people by the actions that you take. You know, it really is true that when we live a life, when we're truly in alignment with what we know is true for us, and we just go forth with that. The King of Wands knows this is my path. And I think for some of you, you may have come into alignment more with what your purpose is. You may at this time be kind of like, I don't know, do I really want to cross that wall? Do I want to go into this new chapter? And yet at the same time, I feel like you're getting more inspired every day. It's almost like a deep knowing. You know that this is the direction you need to take. Yeah, it's been a long journey. And Gemini, that's been coming up for months, that you have been kind of blocking moving forward because of the fear that you may have your heart broken, right? You're being attached. You're kind of attached. I want all of this happiness. I'm not moving forward unless you can guarantee me this, and it's kind of like, but that's not what life is about. Life is embracing the inspiration, the motivation, the passion to move forward, even if you don't know where it's going. The King of Wands doesn't know who's going to follow him, but he does know that he needs to live his life that's in alignment with what it is that's true for him. Really beautiful, because I feel like this has been a long trek, right? Once again, probably since 2008, because Pluto was in your 8th house of death, shared resources, inheritance, all of the things that kind of like come up. You could have been dealing with a lot of other people's karma and stuff over since 2008, the last 15 years. And now what you're kind of understanding is, yeah, I dealt with all that, but now I'm on my own and I'm happy to be on my own. It's almost like a refreshing energy of I'm good on my own. I'd love to maybe have somebody next to me, right? But at the same time, I am good on my own. And you realize that now, because I feel like you've been through so many situations where you suddenly found yourself kind of on your own, right? Whether a relationship ended, a career ended, or a situation in your life ended, it was kind of like, yes, all of a sudden you felt like you were having to, this is the wounded warrior, pick up the pieces again. One time after another. So let's see where you are now. What's coming up for you? Okay, Sacred Temple and King of Swords. Wow. Because there's your air energy, right? Seeing clearly that there are things, I feel like you're seeing clearly that there are things that you need to leave behind. It's kind of like those dishes. I was putting those dishes away out of the dishwasher one day, and I was like, these dishes, I love these dishes, but they're holding me back. Every time I put them in the cupboard, I think of happy times that I had with those dishes and of people and situations that are no longer in my life. And I was just like, these dishes it's bittersweet. That's the word. It's bittersweet. Because as much as I love those dishes, there were also tads of sadness. And it was like, yes, it's time. It's time for me to embrace the new, So I feel like that's what you're doing. You're seeing clearly that it's time for you to step forward, that it's time for you to step into the spotlight, that you cannot stay here anymore in the old world, the old you. I feel like you've transformed, and it's almost like you're seeing clearly, yeah, I'm not the same person. But you may be kind of scared. What does that mean? Where do I go? So let's see what we have here. Yeah. My goodness. You're looking at the things that you put a lot of time and energy into and realizing that they only bring you sadness, that it's time to go in a new direction. Just like my dishes. As much as I love those dishes, and I did have good memories with them, right? I was just like, now that I use them, it's the older version of me. It wasn't really sadness. It was that bittersweet feeling, but I was like, this is the older version of myself. I want to step into. I think, it's a little bit of this coming into clarity. It's time for me to step forward. It's time for me to step into the spotlight. It's time for me to take a little bit of a risk. I'm also going to say, there is this energy where you're feeling like I have to do this a little bit by yourself, but you're not scared of doing it by yourself now because you have been through so much, and you may have at times said, why is nobody helping me? You could have looked around. Why is nobody helping me? right? And now you're kind of like, no, it doesn't matter if nobody's here to help me, because you have the strength. After all you've been through, you have the strength, and you know that you can move forward on your own, that you're good just the way you are, that you're ready to embrace whatever lies ahead. Even if in the end you don't necessarily have the true happiness the way that you think you will. Okay, I do feel like you are going to have the true happiness, but I think you're understanding it may not look the way that you envisioned it when you were the Gemini of the last 15 years, right? It's kind of like, if you have a vision board, I would really look at your vision board and ask yourself, does this vision board really get me excited? Or is it the older version of yourself that got excited when you made that vision board? It may be time to make a new vision board and say to yourself, you know what? And this vision board was wonderful at one time. It's not really resonating with me now. I need a new vision board, you know? Just go to the store and look at new dishes. It really has kind of helped me. It's been kind of very cathartic. I will have to say that. Okay, what is your greatest obstacle? What do you need to release at this time with this full moon in Scorpio? Interesting. You have 3 of Cups and kindred partnerships. Okay, so Gemini, I feel like some of you are at an impasse, okay? Because it's time for you to move forward. I think you had something like this, maybe right around the holiday season, so maybe in like early December or something. It's a time, I think you're wanting to reunite with somebody or a group of people, okay, with the 3 of Cups. You're wanting to return to something that you had at one time. And the emotions are starting to come, which is the full moon in Scorpio here, right? There's something here where it's bittersweet. It's understanding that this coming back together is not going to happen, you know? And if this is a relationship, and I'm going to say this because of 3 of Cups, if you're in a romantic partnership, okay, and perhaps that person has had a third party of any kind, right? And it does not have to be another person. It can be their work or a hobby or whatever, okay? And you have been wanting to perhaps return to what you had a long time ago, okay? Before the third party situation. Then I think what you're recognizing is you can't return to that. If you want to continue this relationship, that you have to look at it in a different way. You have to look at it in that more expansive way of Aquarius. You have to step into this energy of recognizing, okay, this relationship is never going to be. Something has changed the relationship. Something has altered the sense of trust or whatever in your relationship. And if you decide to continue the relationship, you have to realize there's something like about releasing the idea that you can get back to what you used to have. Yeah. And if you're estranged from like a family member or a friend, I think you're realizing it's not going to come back together. You know, that you have to be willing to move forward and not wait. I feel like there's almost this sense of, well, I want to move forward. I want to go in this new direction, right? And, you know, step into my purpose. And yet, at the same time, what happens if this person comes back? What happens if they're not going to like the newer version of me, the Gemini, right? It's almost that energy. I think you've put your life on hold, whether you realize it or not. You've kind of put your life on hold for some time. And I think this full moon in Scorpio is bringing it up and saying, I can't put my life on hold anymore. I have to move forward without that person or these people, or I have to move forward knowing that things are never going to be exactly like they were before. Yeah, you have the Hermit energy. You're moving forward. You're taking action. You know, you're stepping into energy. If the people that I used to have this beautiful relationship with don't want to be in my life, that's okay. I'm ready to move forward and manifest what it is that I want for myself. And you know what you want? You want kindred partnerships, right? But it's almost as if you have denied yourself stepping out and perhaps getting back into the dating scene or moving or something like that, just in case this person returned. It's kind of interesting because the lady that lives across the street, her dog, and it's been really sad. Her old elderly dog somehow got out, and you know, we've all been searching for this dog for over a week now, and unfortunately, we still have not found it. But it's kind of like the woman. She was supposed to go on a trip with her daughter. I mean, they had this planned, you know. And actually they're supposed to leave tomorrow, and she was like, I can't go because the dog's not back, and the dog's been gone like, you know, 7 or 8 days. And you know, her husband even said to her, I'm gonna be here. The neighbors are still looking. You know, it's kind of like you've had this trip planned for some time, and you know, I feel like it's kind of like that energy. I don't want to leave in case they come back. I don't want to move forward in case they come back. But there is something about recognizing it's time to move forward, even if you have to do it by yourself, and you're okay with that. Whereas in the past, I think you really wanted to take the companions, right? Now you're kind of like, yeah, I'm okay. I'm ready to move forward. You could find yourself kind of like feeling disconnected to people. A lot of times that happens before we are willing to move forward. Just feeling a little bit disconnected to some of the people, not feeling like you want to put as much time and energy into those relationships. Okay, so let's take advice moving forward. Okay, so you have back and forth an Ace of Pentacles. There is an offer here for you, Gemini. There is an offer coming in for you. You know, whether this is career or a relationship, you know, this could be, you know, you're wanting to change your career, move to a new town, move to a new country or something like that. But it's kind of like, you know, the people in your life may not want that for you or want you to do that because it'll affect them. And you're just kind of like, okay. There is almost like a sense with the back and forth that this opportunity maybe has come up before, has come around before, and you may have allowed it to go by because you were waiting on other people, okay? Waiting for other people to get on board with what you wanted or to come back or something like that. And so it's kind of like the offer may have, I should say it this way, the offer may have said, okay, well, we're moving on, and Gemini was stuck. And now it's kind of like, oh my gosh, you know, I should have maybe taken that offer. Well, here's the thing. I think the offer is either coming back, and it may not be exactly the same offer, but there's something similar to it, and it's tangible. It's grounded. It's solid. It's an Ace of Pentacles, right? So it's an energy where you can truly trust what this is. It could have been that before, when this offer came by, this change in job, this new relationship, whatever it is, right? You may have not trusted it. You may not have been ready to trust yet because of situations in the past. Now you're ready to trust. And it's not necessarily trusting other people. It's really about stepping into this energy of trusting yourself, of knowing, you know what? I can do this. I can do this. Of knowing that you can do it on your own. Trusting yourself to know that you can do it on your own. You know, in the past, you may have said, oh, I can't do this. I can't make this move. I can't, whatever, right? Because I have to have people around me supporting me. And now you're like, no, I don't. I can do this completely on my own. And it's this sense of stepping into this King of Wands energy, right? Of being inspired, motivated. When you're willing to kind of offload, okay, this situation of waiting around for other people to either support you, to get behind you, right? Or to come back into your life, right? And you're kind of like, yeah, no, I've gone back and forth and offers. I think there is some, like you have deceived yourself. You have literally deceived yourself because you have allowed offers to walk up by. And you continue to put, I'm going to go back to this, to continue to put time and energy into a relationship, a career, a situation that only brought you Five of Pentacles, only brought you this sense of loneliness, rejection, abandonment, you know, just a sense of a broken heart over and over again. And now you're kind of like, no, no more. You have the Hierophant. I mean, just an energy of truly believing in yourself, knowing that you are, once again, a spiritual leader, somebody that inspires other people by the way you live your life, right? But truly believing that you know who you are and what it is. Yeah, you're stepping into your truth. Oh, look at this, Gemini. You believe in yourself. You're stepping into your truth. You know that your truth is your truth. You're no longer trying to convince people that are close to you that this is your truth. You're kind of like, I am so tired of talking to all of you about, I want to go do this career. I want to start this business. I want to go get a new relationship. I want to move to Timbuktu, wherever, right? It's kind of like, oh my goodness, I'm not talking about it anymore. I'm going after it. The Knight of Swords, determined, passionate, inspired. Nothing is going to stop you. It's almost as if nothing is going to stop you. I think this offer comes in and you grab it and it's kind of like, I'm not letting go of it, you know? Because I feel like you have let other offers walk on by. And there's no way, Gemini, you are letting other offers walk on by again. Yeah. Wow. Really interesting. I think the tables are really turning for those that, you know, that are really and truly willing to step into the spotlight, step into who they truly are. To just start living your life out of your true authentic self, stepping into this, yeah, I know who I am and I am happy to live the life that is good for me, whether I'm doing it with people or I'm doing it by myself. It doesn't matter. Would you like to have people come in onto your path? Yes, I know you would. and that will happen. But I think the first thing that you have to do is be willing to allow people that don't belong in your life to move away, right? Either you move away from them or allow them to leave. Because I feel like for some of you, I think you're kind of holding on to some people, you know, or some situation because you feel like you can't do it on your own. This is a loud message. It is time for Gemini to go and do it on their own. Do it your way. Definitely go do it your way. All right, let's pull a soul truth card for you. And Gemini, I do personal readings. So if you're interested, the link is in the description box below. I'd really be honored to do a reading for you. All right, how can I surrender even more in this moment? Oh my goodness, I am getting so jazzed up about this. It is essential to have clean, strong intentions of what we desire, but it's equally important for us to detach from the outcome. That's what I was saying before. This is, you know, you're attached to having a certain outcome. It's fine to set goals, right? But you have to also allow the things or people, the situations that don't want to be part of this to go, right? That is the hard part. That is really the hard part. Okay, it's time to surrender. Let the universe have some breathing room to work. Let go of the wheel and trust so deeply that your trust turns into gratitude for what you cannot see yet, but you know is coming, and it is coming. You have the Ace of Pentacles. The Ace of Pentacles is literally a gift from God. So it is something that is gifted to you. And Gemini, once again, I feel like this is something that if it's not exactly the same thing, it is an opportunity that you may have allowed to pass you by earlier because you were waiting for something or someone, right, to get on board with you. Remember, the King of Wands doesn't care if nobody is following him. And that is the energy you're getting into. It's kind of like, yeah, I'm doing it my way. And not really asking all of these other people what they think. It's kind of like, it doesn't really matter. When I went and shopped for dishes, I didn't take anybody with me. That was kind of new for me. When I make, not that buying dishes is really that big of a purchase, right? But usually I like to have some other input, you know, and I'll still make my own decision. But that day I was really and truly like, no, these are my dishes and I am choosing these dishes. Yeah, it's really rather interesting. I love this. And you know what? You have the Nine of Cups, the King of Cups. I think for some of you, this is love. This is new love coming in. Something that is near and dear, something that you have been wishing for a long time. You know, it could be you have the King of Cups, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, perhaps, but somebody that is emotionally available. And I think you're loving that. And, you know, really somebody that can communicate, takes action, doesn't just, you know, sit on by. It is interesting. You have the King of Wands, the King of Swords, and the King of Cups. So the one that you're missing is the King of Pentacles. And the King of Pentacles is, you know, somewhat considered the epitome of the spouse, right? Somebody that's grounded, reliable, responsible. So you have them all here. Really beautiful. All right, I'm leaving it there, Gemini. Sorry it was so long. I hope to see you again soon. Please be kind and gentle with yourself during this full moon in Scorpio time. And I appreciate all of your support through liking, commenting, and subscribing. I hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.